Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a special live event. So hopefully you're going to find something really exciting about today's webinar. I'm joined by Nick. Hi, Nick.
Hi, guys. Aaron.
So we're here to talk to you today about a new feature that's gone live in Engager. And anyone that's using TaxCalc with Engager, and why would anyone not be doing that? If you are, then you're in for a treat. So the idea being that we can start sharing data from TaxCalc into Engager. You've probably already seen the way that you can share documents and you can navigate between the systems and integrate from a kind of client record perspective. But today we're here to talk about tax data. So if you're doing tax returns in TaxCalc, you should be able to see tax data in Engager, and then that means you can start to use it in client communications, emails, bulk emails, reminders of tax payments, which is kind of why we're here this week and why we wanted to put this special webinar out, because some of you might choose to use it for that very purpose. So Nick's with me to go through that. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the real depths of things. First off, Johan's not here. I apologize. I'm here instead. Nick's here instead. Johan is fine. But yeah, he couldn't make this morning's webinar, but he is obviously very excited about this stuff. Chat wise, morning everyone, morning Sarah, morning Chris, morning Gurcharan. Happy to use that chat. Feel free to. That's amazing. If you have a question, morning Sarah Jane. If you have any questions that you would need us to answer, make sure you use the questions function so that we can actually get, because that's what I'm going to be tracking. So yeah, make sure you use the questions function if you have any questions. After the event, there will be a recording, as always, that will be sent to you so you can watch back. Having said that, Nick was very keen to point out to me this morning that he's going to go through this stuff super clearly, super slowly. So now's your chance, if you haven't already, to open up your TaxCalc Engager systems. And in theory, you should be able to go through this at the same pace as us and actually start to almost use it live. That will obviously encourage more questions, I would imagine. So back to the point around questions, we're going to answer as many as we can as we go through. Nick will probably be answering them because he is the expert. So yeah, that is the state of play this morning. I am going to just move on to the next slide, just in case no one is familiar with any of us. Nick Moss, head of pre-sales and professional services, TaxCalc legend. If you know, you know. He's going to be doing most of the work this morning, I'm glad to say. And then me, I'm relatively new to the world, so if you've not met me before, feel free to reach out, LinkedIn, etc. But I'm product director at TaxCalc, and that kind of means that my role is, because it's practice management role, then I'm kind of overseeing Engager as well. So yeah, I'm super excited. Great 6 months for me. So I'm going to stop waffling. And I'm going to get into the depths of things with the agenda. So I don't know, Nick, if you wanted to run through the agenda, because it's your agenda.
Yeah, of course I can. So we've got basically a 5-step process that I'm going to guide you through this morning of how to get your Engager and TaxCalc systems ready to actually be able to start sending these out. Sarah's asked a good question, Rob. Just a bit of confirmation on this, though, before I go any further, in terms of when is this actually live in our Engager system to start using? Because I appreciate that it will be very nice to get some sent out maybe later this afternoon when it goes live, I believe, Rob.
Yes, yeah, so it's already live now, so everyone should be using it already, or could be using it already.
Amazing. So yeah, I think it went live in the early hours this morning. So
Correct.
everything that we go through today, you should be able to do live in your TaxCalc and Engager systems. You might have to just close your TaxCalc system and reopen it, and there is a requirement that you are on the latest version of TaxCalc, I think our summer release, to be able to do this. But I expect most people on the call are already on it. Helen's asked a good question as well. Is it being recorded? Absolutely, this is a recorded session, so you'll be able to watch it back straight away afterwards. So I know that I have a reputation for going too quickly through webinars, particularly on power hours when we're restricted by time. So I am under strict orders to be going through this much slower today. Couldn't even say the word slower then. I was trying to do it so slowly. Now, the things we're going to go through, turning on the activation in TaxCalc. So this is how it actually shares the data from TaxCalc across to Engager, and explaining the guardrails we have in place relating to sensitive information, maybe your own tax return information going across to Engager, and how you can restrict that. Actually then running a report in TaxCalc of who has a payment on account July due, that'll be a really nice one, because it's a kind of nice bit of functionality. It's been in the system for a long time, but probably not many users of the system even know that that exists. So I can show you how you can run that. So you can then go and select which clients need to receive the email in Engager. Actually then creating an email template in Engager with the correct placeholders populated in it. I am going to put a copy of my existing email template that I've created into the chat, so you can use as a starting point. Feel free to create your own, and then actually showing you how you would then go and send that bulk email out to your clients that have got payments on accounts due. And then the last one is a nice one that probably some people may not even know is available in Engager: the ability to have a template email ready to go out on the completion of a phase. So I'm going to show you what could effectively be sent out of Engager to your client, telling them what payment account they've got to make at the point of filing the tax return. So that's quite a nice little touch in there. So I am going to go through this relatively slowly. Yep, to get you through it. So I'm going to give you time to have your TaxCalc and Engager systems open and go through that. But as Rob said, I'm going to keep the chat open on the right hand side, just to have a bit of an idea of anything that's coming through, just quickly if I need to pick up anything. But if you do have specific questions about anything I'm going through, please do put it in the questions panel. Rob will have that one open. Just if there's anything that is pertinent to what I'm going through, or we just need to clarify anything, please pop it in there. I appreciate this webinar was booked for half an hour as well. Myself and Rob made sure that our diary is free. I think for up to an hour on this. So I appreciate if it does roll over with any questions, we can spend the time answering those. So let's get into it. So if I share my screen now, so I just need to make sure I'm showing the right thing. Let's share my screen, show my entire screen, and it's this one. So let's share this. Okay, Rob, let me know when that's come through to you.
Still loading. Hold, please. Go.
No problem. Yeah, what I will say as well is I apologise if there's any background noise. I was explaining to Rob earlier that the council have decided fantastically that this morning is a good time to start retarmacking my road. So yeah, I'm trying my best to keep that background noise to a minimum, but we'll see how we get on. So on our TaxCalc homepage, since the update, you will see that there's a new Engager button that I've been campaigning for a while that got added in there. So that's great and nice to see. But our admin center button has had to move just to the right-hand side into this little gap here just to accommodate that additional button. This admin center button is the one we're going to need to click first. So if we go to settings in admin center and click launch, we will have a list of options down the left-hand side. If you can select applications for me on the left-hand side, this will give you a list of all the applications that you have got access to use within the TaxCalc database. I expect I may have a list slightly longer than yours, just because in my demo system, I've got access to everything. And at the bottom of my list, I have one called Engager app, a brand new that was added in the latest release. Yours might be in a slightly different order if it's sorted alphabetically, but if you can find the Engager one and just double click on it, it will take you into the ability to customize your Engager app in its connections to TaxCalc. There is only effectively one option here on the left-hand side, and that is the data sync options. And if you select data sync options, this is where for you it'll be defaulted to say do not allow for any client. That's the default that was added into the system. But this is where it will be able to pull across tax information from TaxCalc into Engager. Going forwards, we are aiming to have accounts data coming through as well, but currently it's just tax data. But there is a toggle option there to say allow for linked clients, excluding password protected ones. So if you turn that toggle option on, like I've done there, that will only pull through tax data for linked clients between TaxCalc and Engager. So you'd have to have the authentication or authorization turned on. You'd have to have TaxCalc Cloud Connect. There's a lot of prerequisites that I imagine a lot of people who already have the link set up and working will already have ready. But bear in mind, it's not going to send across any tax data for any clients that have passwords turned on. So if you have used the client restriction functionality to hide clients from staff members in TaxCalc, I appreciate there's probably only a few people that have ever had that turned on anyway. That is still going to send information across unless you password protect that client as well. So please make sure that if, for example, you're in a practice, say with 10 members of staff and you do your own tax return in TaxCalc, that you definitely have that that client's password protected so that no information is sent across from TaxCalc to Engager for those clients. It's a case of turning that on and then clicking finish on the left-hand side and then finish and save in the bottom right corner. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to have turned on. That's where it sends information across from TaxCalc into Engager. Okay. After that, if we then close Admin Center down using the cross at the top to take us right back to the home page, I'm now going to show you how to run a report in TaxCalc that tells you what clients of yours have got a payment on account due in July. Whether they've paid it or not, it's just the ones that had a payment on account due in July based on the tax returns that were filed on the 24-25 tax returns. So if you go to Practice Manager in the top left-hand corner of your home screen in TaxCalc and click Launch, and then on the left-hand side, we have our task tree with our clients and contacts, but I want you to click the last one on the left-hand side, Report Manager. So if you click Report Manager, I have a whole list of lots of reports that are either generated in the system as standard or ones that I've created in lots of previous training sessions or demonstrations, but we're going to build it from scratch. So when you're in this view here, can you click New Report for me on the left-hand side? And if you click New Report, it will ask you what type of report do you want to use, client or system. For brevity today, leave those as standard. If you have lots of different report categories that you've created for yourself, feel free to pick one if it goes in a particular category, if you're comfortable with the report system already. If you're not, just leave them as the default. Click Select, and then it will go to introduction for you to start as default as Imagine. But if you just go to report information on the left-hand side, it will ask you to create a report name. So let's call it POA July 2026. Yep, probably don't make sure you spell things correctly and have the right capital letters. And it will also ask for a description as well. I tend to just copy and paste the report name into the description because you'll have enough information in there. So just make sure you give your report a name and a description. Okay. In the permissions section, it will ask, do you want to make this available for all users or just for yourself? I always think that it's probably relevant for all users in the practice to be able to run this, so I'll leave the default to be all users. After report information, on the left-hand side, we have client selection. And this is probably the most important bit about running the reports in TaxCalc, because we have client selection and report customization. Client selection is almost where you run the filters to say, show me where all of my clients that have a payment on account due for July are. So that's where you apply the filters. Whereas report customization is where you say, of those clients that I have filtered from my database, what information of theirs do I want to appear on that report? Okay, so if I go to client selection, we have three options: all, specific, and advanced client selection data mine. Okay, so if you head to client selection, these are the three options. Please pick the third option where it's advanced client selection data mine, because data mining is where you apply the filters to say which clients do you want to appear in it. If it's all, it's going to show all clients in your database, which is not what you want. Once you've selected the third option, you will have an additional option under filter criteria to look on the far right-hand side of your screen to choose the data mine option. If you choose the data mine option, so if you click that button on the right-hand side, you will then get a pop-up box that appears called the data mine wizard. And from within here, you'll be able to click add condition, and that's basically where you're adding the filters. So if you open where it says add condition, it then gives you a whole host of additional filters that you can run on your TaxCalc database to pull out your clients. Don't do this, but if I just click client information, this is where you could say, show me all my clients of a particular client type, have a particular client code, have client names. You can filter any custom fields that maybe you've created, right? This is just an example I do for other people for different purposes, but we're not going to look at that one today. If you open up the one that says tax returns by clicking the little arrow to the left of it, it will then show me my four elements of the TaxCalc system that I've got access to use, the four different tax return systems, and I open up the personal tax option. Okay, I then have got all my tax return periods back to 2013, but because this is a payment on account due for July 2026, it's related to my 24-25 tax return period. So if we click the little arrow next to 2025, this is where it gives me all the different tax return fields that I'm able to report on. For example, in the past, I've been able to run a report that says, show me all my clients with a total income between certain barriers. I want to go and contact them or know who they are. But the one that we want to look at today is payment on account due next year in July, because this is our 2025 period. So it's due the following year in July, i.e. July 2026. So if you double click on the payment on account due next year, July, equally, please do let me know if there's anything that I'm going too quickly on here, because I appreciate it's probably a new section for everyone. Please pop it into the chat if you want me to run through that again. If you double click on payment on account due next year, July, it will ask for greater than 0. Now you can choose for it, I think, to be greater than £500, potentially got a payment on account, but effectively I'm going to leave it as 0 for today. It depends on what level you want to contact your clients on, because this is going to give me all of my clients that I've got a payment on account due July more than 0. This is the important button that people always tend to get wrong at this point, okay? Where in the bottom right-hand corner, there are two options. You've got run only and save and run. Please click run only, because if you click save and run, it'll ask you to save that filter, whereas it's not that hard to go and run it again. So please just click run only. And if I click run only, that will give me those clients in my database that I've got a payment on account due July based on my database, and which I've got my clients there. Some of you will have more than me, some might only have a few, depends on the size of your client base. So that's how you run a filter to say what clients do I want to appear on my report based on information in the database, for example, those that have got a payment on account due in July. If I then go to report customization on the left-hand side, I then have the choice of what data of theirs do I want to appear on that report. So this is where you can say open up client information using the arrows on the left-hand side. So please do follow this as well. These are the data points I want to put on there. So if I open up client information, I can double click on client code, because by double clicking on client code, it will move it across to the right hand side. And the order that they appear on the right hand side is the order of the columns that will appear on the report. So if I choose client code and then choose client name, yep, so I've got the two identifiers. You can add additional information if you wanted to, if you want phone number, email address, if you wanted that on there, but realistically, that'll be stored in Engager primarily anyway. So I don't tend to put that on here. I just want to know what my clients and what is their payment on account due. So I can then click the little arrow next to client information in the top left-hand corner, and it takes me back to the list we saw before. I can then open up tax returns again, as we did earlier in client selection, open up personal tax, open up 2025 again, and then open up payment on account due next year, July. The same one that we saw that we filtered on, I want to include that in a list. Double click on that and it'll move it across to the right hand side. Like I said, you can add as many columns as you want on there. It's totally up to you. You may get a red warning saying it's too big to appear on the report. Don't worry, you can still run it and export it to Excel. But is everyone happy with where we're up to at the minute? Because I appreciate that it can be difficult. Okay, Akash is asking for it again. So just to be clear, in the report customization section, is that what you're asking about, Akash? Yep. The field, this is where you add the fields you want. So if you open up client information, I want you to add client code and client name. They're the two I want you to add. Open up tax returns, and I want you to scroll down and add payment on account due next year, July. Yep, got lots of ones saying all good, okay. Then you can sort it by client code, client name, or payment on account. I tend to leave it by client code because that's the order you tend to expect to see it in. Leave it as portrait, and then in the bottom right hand corner, you have the ability to click continue. Click continue, and it will then take you to your finish screen. You then click finish and save in the bottom right hand corner. So click finish and save, and it will ask you, do you want to run the report now? You say yes, and that will then give you a list of all of your clients that have got a payment on account due in July. Okay, that's how you run that report. Okay, and that's how you go and query a whole host of data in the TaxCalc system. I might run a separate webinar if anyone thinks that's useful on just reporting within TaxCalc in general, and this will give you a list of all your clients that got a payment on account due in July that potentially want to send an email to. I appreciate a lot of my data is saying 313995. We use this internally as almost like a training system, so a lot of the data is consistent. Your figures will all be different. Okay. Now, for the time being, it's important that you have to run this in TaxCalc because we are currently, right now, not able to filter in Engager based on this information. Okay, to say I want to send an email to all my clients with payments due in July. That is coming at some point, and Rob could be able to confirm that, but we've unfortunately not been able to do it in time for the July release that we wanted to be able to send out payments on accounts due. So everything I've just shown you there, be able to filter your clients based on tax information in the TaxCalc database, you will be able to run an Engager in the near future to be able to say, show me all my clients with a, it's July now, so let's go with, show me the ones that have got a October year end, and I've got a corporation tax amount in their corporation tax return. I want to send an email to them. So rather than having to run it in TaxCalc, you'll be able to do that in Engager specifically. Okay. So once you're happy with that, you are able to export it if you want it, just have it as a PDF or have it on a different screen or whatever you want. And once you're happy with it, you can then close it, because then if I take you right back to the start, you are able to run that report as always. So if you go right back to TaxCalc and click Practice Manager in the top left-hand corner, and then go to Report Manager on the left-hand side, your report will sit there at the bottom of your system settings, which means you can then select your report and hit run at any time, and that data will then exist as well. Okay, so Emma's got a question. I've managed to work around this and have set up a service for January line payments, and this can be linked with the placeholder. Super pleased with how it's going in development. Brilliant, Emma. Good to see. And let me know if what I'm going through today differs from what you're saying, Emma. So that is good to know that you're doing that. So that is everything that you need to do in TaxCalc. Just understand which of your clients you want to send payments on accounts to. Okay, so that is, if we go back to our list, the first two bits of the agenda today: turning on the activation in TaxCalc, and then running the report in TaxCalc. The next bit that I'm going to take you through is all Engager stuff, and in my opinion, probably the most exciting bit. So let me open up Engager, and let's all go through this together. So once you have the activation turned on in TaxCalc and you've closed, probably need to log out and log back into Engager for that to happen. So quite simply, if you just went to the top right corner, click sign out and sign back in, you'll be good to go. And as long as you have the client linked to TaxCalc, I've got lots of clients here, you're able to open up your client, such as Adam Alpha that I've got here. So if you open up the client, and in the tax references section in the top left-hand corner of Engager, you're able to select that tab, and then we'll see the tax data from TaxCalc is now in Engager in the bottom left-hand corner of that pop-up box. Okay, let me know, Matt, if that's there for you, because I appreciate I can see you typing. I want to see, just check that that is in your system, because I appreciate that I've met you a few times, particularly at different sections. So I just want to check that that is in your system once you've turned that information on. There we go. Sarah's got it in. Brilliant. Good to know. So I know I'm doing it slowly enough for everyone, which is good. I'm learning, I'm improving. That's for you, Johan. So effectively, we can see that data is coming through. Biggest point. So it means that at any point you can just refer back to it and see what that payment is. If a client rings up and says, "What's my payment on account due?" very quickly you can see that in there, and I'll talk about any guardrails that go alongside that. Now the next bit is then, Patrice, there is something you need to do in TaxCalc. You'll be sent a recording of this, and it'll show you how to do it effectively in TaxCalc. You need to turn on the activation. We'll be doing little videos and sending them out throughout the week as well to help you with it. But effectively, just need to go to an admin center in TaxCalc to turn on the functionalities to do this. So once you've got that data in Engager, it's now setting up the email template. So it's no different than an email template that we used to in Engager already, if you're used to sending emails out of Engager. So if I go to my settings section by clicking on my name in the top right corner of Engager, and then clicking on settings, and then in my communication section of the settings section, I can then go to message templates. And within here, I have created a new message template by clicking new template in the top right corner called POA July 2026. So what I'm going to do, if I just click the little pencil on the right hand side, I'm just going to copy this template that I've produced and pop it into the chat for everyone to use as a starting point. But please feel free to go and edit and tailor your template however you like. Okay. Oh God, it's making me do it in separate sections. Up to 500 characters. Brilliant. Right. Rob, what can we do here in terms of that template? Can we put it in the help guide quickly today? Just an article.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, just to be clear, I think one of the things we'll do is, yes, the webinar will be recorded, but we'll put a help guide together as well, and yeah, we'll make sure that wording's in there if anyone wants to use Nick's.
Brilliant.
Right,
yeah, and yeah, absolutely. Because I knocked this up relatively quickly. I'll show you what this looks like when we actually want to send it to a client as well. But we appreciate that everyone will want to use something slightly different, but it's nice to have a starting point to work from. Okay. The important things to reference here that I've added are specific placeholders that can pull through the specific payment on account due in July into the email template itself. Now, those placeholders have been added into the standard placeholder section here in the top right corner. There's a particular bit that I need to make you aware of. So if we click insert placeholder in the top right corner, it gives me a list of all my placeholders. We scroll a bit further down. There is a section in here. It's about a third of the way down. Here we go. So if I go to here, we've got at the top TaxCalc corporation tax data, and underneath it we have TaxCalc self-assessment data. I'm going to focus on the TaxCalc self-assessment data today, as you'd expect, because we're focused on payment account July emails specifically because of the the time of the month, right, of getting those emails out. But I will also reference the context of corporation tax data later on down the line as well. Now, it's really important for TaxCalc self-assessment data that when we utilize the placeholders, this middle column for tax year is super, super important, because when we're wanting to send payment on account following year July, we have to make sure that we insert the placeholder for the correct tax period. Yeah, because we don't just want to use the client's latest return, because that's going to use the 25-26 return if you've already created that tax return for them and started working on it, or potentially already rolled them forward in bulk if some people are able to do using the TaxCalc workflow system. So it's really important that you pick the correct tax year. So in my template, I have chosen tax year 24-25 and then selected this one here, okay, which is why it's then pulled through in the placeholder. It's quite small. I'm to zoom in a little bit. Yep, where it says TaxCalc's payment account following year July equals 24-25. Okay, so that's really important. If you're building your own templates using the placeholders, that you choose the correct drop-down option in there. Now, a really important bit to reference is that if you have already filed, say, your client's 25-26 tax return, filed it in the last 3 months. Yep. Here we go. So, right, Rob's got a question there. How does this work if you already completed 25-26 tax return, July payments change? Fantastic, right? Great that someone's asked that question, because it shows that they're on the right idea of asking what the software's limitations currently are. Okay. If you have already filed the 25-26 tax return and the payment on account changes, this system is not going to be able to take that change of payment on account into effect. The reason being is it's literally taking the payment on account due from within the 24-25 tax return. Okay, it's not taking into effect any adjustment that's been made in the 25-26 tax return to what that payment on account will be. That is why in my template, I have a particular section that says the exact amount due to HMRC may differ from a variety of reasons. Interest has been charged, the balance already. Again, you can add an additional bit in there that says if we already filed your 25-26 tax return, the information might change as well. The unfortunate nature is that HMRC have not made that payment on account due in July field accessible as an API field for us to pull down to, and any other practice management system, to be fair, be able to pull down from into the data set. So we're having to pull through what is in the tax return itself. Now, we will likely want to adapt that with the ability to say, look, if it changes in 25-26, go and change what that figure is, but we don't have that field available in TaxCalc yet. Okay, I expect that we will change that. Johan was quite adamant that that needs to change going forwards. This was something to at least get an email out to your clients of a figure that they would recognize, but still go onto the HMRC website to check what that exact amount is due. Because my opinion is an email going to your client to remind them to pay a tax figure that they recognize, even if they've already paid it, is better than not reminding your clients to pay it if they have a payment due. Okay. Bethany's asked, is there a way to get the tax data onto the client info page, or will it only be available under the tax references? Currently, it's only available under the tax references. That's definitely one for Rob to take away, potentially if we wanted to make it available in different areas of the system, but it's currently under tax references. Okay, Bethany, yeah. Akash has said, is this template already placed in Engager? It's not in there currently. This is just something I put into my test system last week, ready for the update going live this morning. We're going to make it live in the help center, Akash, as quickly as we can for you to be able to start using it. Okay. So once you've got your template ready, okay, let me just make sure I'm getting the zoom correct on here. Okay, let's go with that. Let's save that in there. Let's then send this out to your clients. So it's then a case of going to clients in the top left-hand corner at the top, as we're all used to. You would then tick which clients you want to send it to. And that's why it's really helpful having that list in TaxCalc, potentially on a separate screen or as a PDF elsewhere on your system. So I can have this on one screen. It's I've got here on the left-hand side, open, so I can then tick my clients. So I would then tick, say, Adam Alf in this example. I could then tick Ben Bravo. I could tick Craig Charlie if they're all on that list. Now, going forwards, what we want to be able to do is to then apply a filter based on that tax data. But currently, we do not have that. That's what I'm saying here. We want to be able to filter on the tax reference data within within Engager. It's not in there right now, so that's why you have to run the report in TaxCalc initially. Once you've ticked those clients, it's then a case of clicking message at the top and compose email. But bear in mind as we do this, please don't just click send, right? This is just me showing you how to do it so that when you come around to be able to do it with your template, yep, this is how you would go and do it. So if you click compose email, and then you make sure you pick your template in the drop-down box. So I can then pick, say, payment on account July 2026 at the bottom. It's then going to pull through my template we saw before. Make sure you have your correct outbox that you want to be turned on. Yep, to make sure it comes from the correct email address. And then you can see here it's sending it to Adam, Ben, and Craig. So now let me show you what it would look like for Adam. So if I click the little I, this is what Adam would receive. So again, using the classic Engager branded system, it pulls through my fake logo for debit where credit's due accountancy in my gold color scheme. And it's pulling through my template where it says, Dear Adam. It then pulled through the amount due from the tax return into the body of the email. It'll then pull through his unique taxpayer reference, but it does say how to pay. Please ensure you quote and then with a K at the end. Yep, how to go and pay it by app, bank transfer, debit or corporate credit card, whatever it needs to do, and then my logo at the bottom. Okay. The field links to TaxCalc. I'm not manually adding the figure at all, Bethany. This pulls through straight through. Oh, sorry, you're talking to each other. Sorry, Bethany. That's me. That's me getting involved in your conversation. Sorry, Bethany.
They have it. They have it.
Sorry, yeah. So this comes straight through from TaxCalc. So you can see I've got Dear Adam and it's 539310. If I change that to Ben Bravo and click the I, you'll see it's going to say Dear Ben and it's 313995. Okay, super helpful that information comes straight through from TaxCalc into Engager. And when you're happy, you can then click send at the bottom, which will then send it out from Engager to all your clients. So that's how you would effectively go and send out a payment on account email out of Engager in bulk to all your clients with the information from the tax return in TaxCalc automatically populated into the email. Matthew, I'm going to ask you because I appreciate you're on the call today and I've seen you comment into the chat. Matthew, is that what you wanted the system to do from a communications point? I appreciate we talked about this at the Fusion event at the back end of last year. Talk to Matthew Portis. I appreciate it's probably Blunty Matthews. You can see her in the chat. So that's how you would actually go and send it out in bulk. And I'm super excited for this to go live and you guys to start using it. And again, the power's in the template, the power's in having the connection turned on, all the clients linked, but that's absolutely huge. Okay. Now the next bit is something which
Nick, before we move on, Nick, so a couple of questions which I think would be useful for everyone else to hear the answer to. So the first one, Sarah said, so can I get rid of my custom fields for tax and payments on account?
Yeah.
Yes, but right. If your custom fields are going to store data that you're updating once those the new returns go in, and the kind of caveats that Nick gave earlier on, then that data is perhaps more accurate than what's in your what's going to pull through. But I think in most cases it would save you having to worry about that custom field, right, Nick?
Yeah. And the thing with a custom field, right, is that it's dead easy to not change it from the prior year anyway, right? Especially if you're using the same custom field year on year that you forgot to update it. So you're fundamentally telling a client a totally incorrect figure, right? If you forget to update the custom field. I appreciate some people might say a custom field POI July 26, and then create another one for 27, another one for 28, right? Which would help. But if you've forgotten to fill it in, or you've transposed some figures, or you put an estimated amount or whatever, this at least is a figure that was correct at the point of filing the tax return. Yep, and will save you an enormous amount of time. Yep. Just be aware there is a recording that you'll be sent straight away after the session. Okay. If you don't get it, please just log a ticket with the support team at TaxCalc and Engager, and we'll get that sent out to you. Okay.
So just another question. Sorry, Nick.
Keep going, Rob.
Sorry, Chris asked. I assume if we have a template already set up, we can just put the new placeholders in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, keep your template and update it with the placeholders we've added. Absolutely. Yep.
Cool. Sorry, Nick. I'll shut up now.
No, go for it. No, please interrupt me. Absolutely. I love this. Nice one. So, the last bit is probably an element which I don't think enough practices are probably utilizing in Engager, in that the email integration with the job phases. So what I've done, if I go to my jobs and I've got my SA 100 jobs in terms of a view filtered here, so where all my self-assessment jobs are up to. If I go to my, say, Ben Bravo ready to file tax return tab, you can see here for file tax return, I have a toggle turned on in the settings that I'll show you later on that says sending an email suggested on phase completion. So when I complete the phase in Engager, it will ask me, do I want to send an email to my client? So what I've done is I've created an email template. So if I show you another email template under communication I've created called, if I sort it by category and call it confirmation of filing SA 100. Some of you may do this already. I have created that template that says something like, dear client's first name, we're pleased to let you know you submitted your self-assessment tax return. Per our records, these are the figures you're expected to pay. So, 31st of January with the correct placeholder that tells you what needs to pay, and then 31st of July current year. So it's going to pull through that information in there from the latest filed tax return. So with that, I can then go and turn that on. So to show you where that looks like, if I go back to my settings, and then go to my services under jobs, and then open up my SA 100 service. If I scroll down to my particular phase, it's my phase for file tax return. So it's my last phase of my job. I have the section where it says template for an email to send on completion of a phase, my confirmation of filing SA 100. Yep. So what that will do is, if I go back to my job that we saw before, and I've got my file ready to file. So let's say I filed Ben Bravo's tax return. I complete the current phase to say I filed it. Are you sure you wish to complete the billing phase without raising an invoice? Yeah, I'm not fussed about that in today's demonstration. It will ask me, this phase was assigned an email template to send on its completion. Do you want to bring up the compose window to send the message? So I say yes. It will then pull it up with my email template that we saw before, and it's going to go to Ben Bravo. And if I click the I, it will then tell me what Ben would receive. So this is what he would get. Dear Ben, we've filed your self-assessment tax return. This is what you're expected to pay. A copy of your approved tax return is in your client portal. Kind regards from Esther, who's the client manager. Yep. Super, super helpful that then it's just speeding up the point of just notifying your client it's been filed. I appreciate that you might do that currently already. It's just an additional option that we've got that on there. Yeah. So yeah, I think, Rob, that's pretty much everything we tend to go through on these demonstrations. Appreciate I've overrun by 7 minutes, but yeah, I don't know if anyone's got any feedback, any questions on there. I see Claire. I love having a chat with Claire in the accountants therapy groups and at different events. So here we go. So Claire said, I think in future I'll probably create a custom field to say I've checked the payment on account and engaged with HMRC balance. Brilliant. And once I've checked that, I can create that custom field to bulk send all emails where no changes are needed, and then just do the awkward ones individually. Brilliant. So yeah, what Claire's saying there is to create a custom field in Engager and then filter to say, I only show me the clients where I've checked the payment on account due, and then send that as a bulk, and then do the ones afterwards, right? Is there a way to pull the remaining balance as well as the payment on account due, or will it be total due for Jan? I think remaining balance may be in there. Let me just check that as a placeholder. Let me just check that. Let me just check the placeholder. Is it one of those on that list? Beth, just checking. I think it might be. It's the total amount due, Jan. I think that might be that might be the field you're looking for. Yeah. Balancing payments there as well. So I think it's either of those two. I can't remember off the top of my head, sorry, but in case of just checking, I'd have to run a few tests on the database. These are fields which I don't tend to use on demonstrations or training sessions, but I believe it's probably one of those two. Yeah, just put it into your template and run it. But yeah, I don't know, Rob, are there any more questions that have come through in the question section?
Couple of questions. Dean said, if you set an email template to completion of accounts, but update the account's due date per company's house that pulls through each morning, will the email be drafted still?
Let me just check that question. Let me read that one. I might need to read that one. If you set an email template to completion of accounts, not sure, Chris. Not sure, Dean. Sorry, I'll need to have a look at that one. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Sorry, I'd love to be able to answer these. Yeah, I'll get back to you on that one, Dean.
Yeah. No one is there a way we can get the emails into the automations so we can review and amend the payment and account due if there's a balancing payment, i.e. where the 25-26 return has been done?
Potentially, but that's where I think one of the users in the chat mentioned they have a service turned on for payment on account due. So they can have the automations turned on there. It is a workaround, but yeah, it's something which we can look at of having just automations turned on for payment on accounts just generally, but it's not something that's built into the system inherently as such currently. I know there's lots of exciting things that Rob's building alongside all this email automation, so it might not be on the agenda, but it's definitely something that we can take out and look at. Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's probably worth mentioning that there are some limitations with this feature, but I think we knew that, and part of the process here is to get this kind of feedback. So yes, please keep the feedback coming in, whether you post it as a question in here, whether you ping me directly on LinkedIn, or my email address is just rob.millen@taxcalc.com if you want to fire anything over. Happy to have a chat through any of this stuff. So yeah, clearly we're going to evolve this and improve it. Precisely how we do that, we have loads of ideas. As you can imagine, Johan is pumping us full of ideas as well. But if you think of something that you would like us to consider, either use Sleek Plan to request that feature, because we are absolutely running through that stuff on a daily basis at the moment, and you'll see me posting every week. We're sending out a new update as a result of those Sleek Plan requests. So definitely keep filling up Sleek Plan and voting on other people's ideas. So yeah, hopefully that kind of covers that, Nick. There are a couple of other questions. Sorry.
Yeah, just a quick one. What I've also done, I've just put my email address in the chat. It's just nick.moss@taxcalc.com. Anyone who's desperate for that email template, drop me an email. I've got some time this morning just to reply to them with the template. I'll just send you an email reply with it. I know Claire did that late last week when we were talking about it. So please just drop me an email just with the subject Engager email template, and I'll just send what I've got across to you, so you've got it straight away to upload into Engager as a starting point. I appreciate we'll do a help guide for the wider user base, but if someone's desperate for it this morning, drop me an email and I'll get that sent out to you straight away.
Cool. Other questions, Nick. We've got isn't it a field for total due after adjustments and payments made, which I think is what you're referring to earlier on, right? In TaxCalc. So yeah, we'll definitely try and work towards that perspective, Chris. And then Peter asks, can we also use the data in our normal SA 100, e.g., your total tax for the year is X?
I think so. Do you mean for the service, Peter? Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, you could do that. I mean, you could set it, to go out, say, 7 days after the deadline, right? If you have that set up in your automations, right, to go out afterwards. But yeah, it probably wouldn't be something I would do. I would want this to be and I know we talk about automations, right? We could look at putting it in. Personally, I would want this to be a twice-a-year job for payment on account reminders, just so I know just so I've got full control over which ones those emails are going, rather than having Engager manage that. That'd be my personal preference. I know there'll be plenty of people in Engager, and Johan would want to automate that function. I know he would, right? Personally, I like going, these are the emails that I've sent, these are the ones that I haven't, and that's where I think Claire's idea for having a checked field as a custom field that you can then know that I have reviewed it if I know there's going to be any differences, and it will send out the different figure. But yeah, that's the option there. But yeah, I think that's probably everything, Rob.
Excellent. Yeah, well, I think that was a good starting point. Massively appreciate your time today, Nick. Thanks for jumping on and using your expertise to show us all this stuff. If anyone has any questions, you have both mine and Nick's email address at this point, so don't be shy. Feel free to reach out. The recording will be available, so please feel free to rewatch if you found it that exciting, and look out for some help guides, Nick's template, etc., going live on the Help Centre, hopefully at some point today.
Perfect. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.